Welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. There's so much I want to talk about, and we're always open for calls. The number is 415-861-6648. I'm here the first and the third Thursday at 5. And then most people see me when it's being taped now, so it'll be recorded and shown a lot, but usually you could count on seeing it Saturday nights on channel 29. Every Saturday night, 7:30 p.m., channel 29. And I'm Psychic Frank. Yeah. Well, if you watched my last show, I talked about to recap July 12th, Cancer new moon, Sun and Moon in opposition, exact opposition to Pluto, the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth. So that was a big deal. The Pluto exactly opposed the Sun and Moon, and this was and was likely to bring up things that need to be healed in our own consciousness and in the collective consciousness of the world. And we saw that with Donald Trump, because actually I have Donald Trump's chart right here, and yeah, he's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, his day and month, June 14th, makes his day and month 11, and and he came in a 2 year, 1946. So he is definitely 11, 12. He's a 22-4 in life path. So yeah, he's used to having the last word. And his south node, his north node is 20 degrees Gemini, but his Saturn is 23 degrees Cancer. Now Cancer is it's in opposition to Pluto. Pluto and Cancer, Capricorn rather, in Cancer are opposite constellations. So yeah, his Saturn and Venus, 25 degree Venus in Cancer, 23. That's what makes him such a great con artist. See, every shadow, every constellation, everything has its shadow and its plus and its minus side. You know, it's good and it's bad. And if Cancer could be very deceptive, very deceiving, you know, like bait and switch. That's how he got around. That's how he grew. And also, Venus is your planet of happiness. And with Saturn is like the anti-Venus. And when those two are born with those two real close, it's not a good thing. It's, you know, well, it has the potential for being, you know, but it can be misused, and obviously Donald is misusing it. And what's coming up, so yeah, then a deeper layer of healing ready to happen. This eclipse we just had, I'm saying we're recapping here what went on just a few days ago, because today is the 19th, so we're talking about the 12th. And then we're going to get into the 27th, Friday the 27th, the Aquarius full moon, 4 degrees Aquarius full moon. Yeah, we'll be lunar eclipse. Yeah, this is eclipse season. We're going to be talking about that. And there's another eclipse in August. That's the 3rd. This one's a total one. This one coming up. And we're going to definitely be talking about this, because the potential for violence is very... yeah, also what happened just after this, this new moon we just had was Jupiter went direct on the 10th here on the West Coast, 10:04 a.m. Jupiter every 12 years is in Scorpio, stays in every constellation for a year. So now we're able to engage our mind and heart. We've done a lot of the inner work. When any planet goes retrograde, we get to do some inner work. But now this total lunar eclipse, yeah, and to recap one more time what went on a few days ago with the Cancer solar eclipse new moon, 20 degrees in opposition to Pluto, with all that Cancer and Pisces energy, Neptune in Pisces retrograde, I believe. Is Neptune retrograde? Yep, Neptune's retrograde. Oh no, Neptune's, yeah, Neptune is retrograde. 16 degrees right now. And also there's something else in oh yeah, Jupiter and Scorpio. So that's a 3 water: Pisces, Neptune, Jupiter and Scorpio, Sun and Moon in Cancer. So no moon anymore. The moon's not in Cancer anymore, but the sun's still in Cancer for a few more days. If we're ever going to know how to be nurtured and nurtured, you know, we want to nurture and nurture, nurture and nurturing, and make sure you pay attention to how you need to be nurtured. Like, you know, a lot of times I get the 10 of Swords, and that's an interesting card because for years I kept on saying, well, it's the end of something, at the end of a mental situation. And just the other day, a few weeks ago, I found an interesting book the angels put in my hand that just really had a truth about it only takes 1 sword to kill somebody. This has 10 swords in it, which means your mind, you're going over your mind, playing games with yourself, and you got to control your mind. Well, you know, you see a lot of people in before we get into the all nitty-gritty of it, you know, I live in Hayes Valley, and I've been there for 30 years, and I love my hood, in spite of it's changed. Things rest and change. I like that. Ponder that one. Things rest and change. Excuse me. So what we got is, you know, yoga places, and I love to see them. I'm not particularly going to yoga classes. I'm almost 70. I'm too old for that. Well, no, I shouldn't say that's ageist. I don't, you know, I do my own yoga. You know, I take showers, I twist and shout, I dance, you know, and I do my yoga. I do what works for me. But the thing is you know, you get dressed up in your yoga costume with your little mat, and you go in this little sterile place, and what the instructor's doing, you could do right now with me. It only takes a minute. Okay, listen to what it says, okay? Take a deep breath, drop our grounding cord. Just sit there right now. Don't do a thing. Just rest. For your separation from God, from love, is the hardest work in this world. When you connect to your Divine Mother, you will be living creatively. You will, in fact, be living the Tao. Then I saw this cute little thing. It said, how do you pass time? I don't. I just sit here and let time pass me. I love that. That's why I live in San Francisco, because it's a port. And before this, I lived in New York City. So if you live in a port, the whole world comes right to your door. You don't have to go anywhere. We're in absolutely uncharted territory. The ancient maps used to say past this, when they were pointing to uncharted territory, here be dragons. Oh boy, we've got some Stephen, what's his name, Miller. Boy, that's a soul you don't is from the bowels of hell. Trump has yeah, he's a mess. He's a total mess. He's a mess. What's going on? Actually, I made a lot of notes. Yeah, so when we get to August, the 27th of this month, July 27th, because we already recapped the new moon we just had. This is the most important month of the entire year astrologically, because what happens this month is going to be affecting the months to come. Months to come now, if not a year. We're going to be, until next spring, we're going to be dealing with what's going on. This 3 eclipses in a row. We are fully immersed, as Pam Youngin says in the Mountain Astrologer for August, September. We are fully immersed in eclipse season as August draws. 2 July eclipses are in the rear view mirror, and a rare 3rd eclipse lies directly ahead. We're going to get to that in a minute, but let's get to the one coming up, because most people will be seeing this show Saturday the 21st, and the very next day here in Pacific Coast time, we got the Sun entering Leo at 2:01 p.m. Sun enters Leo. That's good. Leos like to roar, but they much rather purr. Lunar eclipses. A lunar eclipse is precisely aligned, supercharged full moon. A lunar eclipse is a perfectly aligned, supercharged full moon. Yeah, eclipses are all about endings, completions. As the light goes out, what's hidden in the subconscious rises up. The Earth's shadow falls between the sun and moon, and what's typically the brightest night of the month is veiled in darkness. As the light goes out, what's hidden in the subconscious rises up. Our shadows, secrets, feelings that seem too big, too scary, demanding attention and expression. Changes that have been brewing behind the scenes are catalyzed into action, and we often see significant completions. Yeah, we've got some amazing things going on now. Donald Trump is. I was watching the National Intelligence Chief Don Coates before I left the house today. This afternoon, Andrea Mitchell was interviewing him, and he really is a true patriot. Even though he's a Republican, old school Republican, they weren't all evil, but as Gomez could be he used what I got about Don, he said some amazing things. Flake 2 said, when you wage war on objective reality for 2 solid years, calling real things fake and fake things real, as if condemning others to embrace some conclusion. Yeah, this is what's been going on for 2 years, and now it's been true that before he was even inaugurated, Donald Trump, everybody knew, all the powers knew. So it must have been really for the last 2 years having him go out there and lie and lie and lie. George Washington said, using terms George Washington used, freedom being the light for which many men have died in darkness. Yeah, many ghosts of many countless men and women, pigeons, birds, dogs, all kinds of patriotic living beings, sentient beings gave their lives. And now this, I'm not condoning for 1 second what Donald Trump is, but bless what happened now, because we're going to get the paradigm changes needed. One thing Coates said, which I agree 100%, is complacency. Beware of complacency. But here's a man who's a patriot. He's educated, he's bright, but he doesn't have the basic knowledge to cut the word try out of his vocabulary. You got to start taking control of your words that come out of your mouth. Words cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. And he didn't say it like a dozen or 2 times, but he said it like 3 or 4 times in really key spots when he was talking about, our electrical grid. I mean, all the things the Russians, they're just starting now. I mean, this is definitely worse than 9/11 in many, many respects. No disrespect to the ones that lost their lives, but what's going on now, even that we don't even know about, that this maniacal tyrant, this fascist, is doing. The second half of July will extend to the end of August. Be mindful of what's going on in your life and be skillful now. Skillful mindfulness. This total lunar eclipse is teaching us how to be objective. Oh yes, I was saying, Coates said, beware of complacency. And I thought that was amazing. But what Coates said 3 times was try. He said, we're trying to do this. Now, come on. We all want this to happen. I can and I will. I am and I have. The more you say, I'm trying, I'm wishing, I'm hoping, you get like a carrot over a donkey's head, just always frustratingly just out of reach. What Dan Coates could have said is, we are getting to the bottom of this now. This is over. This is, instead, we're doing, I don't know how we're going to get out of this. It's going to take a miracle. As Motown used to say, there's beware of complacency. Yeah, you know, if you see the footage now on TV of Putin, he strolls out like Johnny Carson or Bob Hope. You almost feel like the background music's "Thanks for the Memories." And Donald Trump calls these people honorable. A man of uncouth behavior who has contempt for education and basic decency, and he calls people who, like that North Korean president, who actually fed his enemies, his brother-in-law, cousins, or somebody, to a pack of hungry dogs. First of all, how would you starve dogs, you know, and make them that hungry to eat a human being? And that in Donald Trump's world is honorable. I mean, he poisons people, Putin. He's a despicable he's totally like a mobster. He's like John Gotti or Al Capone or one of these horrible gangsters of yesteryear. No respect for human life whatsoever. And Donald Trump calls Reverend what's his name, Un, of North Korea, and what's his name, and Vladimir Putin. Actually, I have Putin's chart right here, and oh yeah, they're celebrating. They're having, yeah, Putin is really he's having his Jupiter return this year, and he better live it up, because what he doesn't know is. I'm looking for his chart. Is see, okay, a little scattered here. Okay, July 27th, the Aquarius Lunar Eclipse. The Sun and Moon will be 4 degrees Leo, 4 degrees Aquarius, conjuncting the South Node. Now, this is not within conjuncting his Mars, Jupiter, Trump's Mars, or his ascendant, but it is in Leo. And it says Aquarius is a fixed air sign. This eclipse supports awakening to and releasing beliefs that have crystallized over time and that have blocked our forward progress. Well, getting back to the whole thing about it's planet, people, profit. Well, the way it is now, it's profit, profit, planet, profit, 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 people, people, and then maybe planet. We got to change this around. We got to change this mess around. Yeah, so what's coming up on the 27th, see, Mars is spending 6 months. It started last month, so we got 5 more months of Mars pretty much always in Aquarius, with a few weeks in when it backs up into Capricorn. I believe, yeah, backs up into Capricorn for a few weeks. And then, so really until November 15th, Mars will be in Aquarius in opposition to Donald Trump's Mars. And November 15th is when I got my ephemeris. It's right here. Let me look it up. That's an interesting one. I got my tarot cards with me. Remember, new moon's a time to press the reset button, and this last one was how do we nurture ourselves? We don't let people bully us. That's a big one. What's his name? Comey. I read his book, and he's a great guy. Oh yeah, a note about the High Priestess and the Hangman, number 2 in the 12th card of the tarot. The image of such a close connection to life that we no longer see ourselves as separate or opposed to it. So much intuition, so much objective knowledge. I love that. We are so connected to life that we no longer see ourselves as separate or opposed to it. As a matter of fact, we know that life is for us, not against us. Oh yeah, see, here's Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma. And Donald Trump has got will have Saturn on July 15th. Actually, it's going to be early. It starts around the end of October, right around Halloween. He will have what is it? Pluto will be retrograde 18 degrees Capricorn. Oh, Mars. Mars will be 20 degrees Aquarius on New Year's, on October, on Halloween. and that's going to be exactly in opposition to his Mars, 26 degrees. That'll happen on the 9th and 10th, and then he'll have Mars opposite his ascendant on the 14th and 15th, and on the 16th, Mars will go into Pisces for normally 2 months again. It's very rare that Mars will spend 6 months in a particular sign. So while Mars is in Aquarius, the lightning rods, be conduits for divine intervention, be open to guidance, and act on the guidance you get. You know when you're being told, you know, don't do that, that's bad, you know. Well, you watch my last show, it's on YouTube, I talked about skillful choices, you know. Uranus, the modern, this is for July 27th, Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, squares the Sun, Moon, and Mars. Now, squares are windows of opportunities, and the nodal axis amplifying the revelatory, revelatr, revelatory and revolutionary power that this lunation. Unexpected events, erratic behavior, sudden changes, and radical breaks with the past are possible. We may feel like we're spinning in a swirl of chaos, but this Uranian storm can shake us straight out of stagnant patterns. Uranus trine Saturn, the traditional ruler of Aquarius, supporting us to integrate the radical changes triggered by this eclipse into tangible, lasting forms. Well, that's what's going on right now, but as I said, as Mars retrograde in Aquarius advises us to search within to uncover our true desires, rethink our contribution to the collective, and reclaim our individuality and freedom. Whew, good stuff. And in the words of blessed departed Heather Heyer, if you're not absolutely outraged, you're not paying attention. I didn't lose, I know where she is. She's not with the living anymore here. But my friend Kathy Acker, she was a pretty famous author. She wrote erotic fiction, and I miss her. She's gone 23 years this autumn. Yeah. After she passed on, I decided I wasn't just going to be a psychic. I was going to learn, because she died of cancer at only 50, and she didn't want to go. And that's when it was a year or two after she passed on, I was studying with Carolyn Meese and Louise Hay and a lot of people, and I studied with Bernie Siegel. I didn't actually meet him, but I feel like I met him. I've seen every video, everything he's ever written. And so I want to share some of Dr. Bernie Siegel with you. And he's very Jungian, you know, he's very Jungian. Jung said, when one is afraid of death, see, because getting well isn't the only thing, you know. Let me get some, I spent a lot of time today. Be yourself to free yourself. Yeah, Bernie Siegel, One Mind God wants us to know that life is a series of beginnings, not endings, just as graduations are not terminations, but commencements. Creation is an ongoing process, and when we create a perfect world where love and compassion are shared by all, suffering will cease. Yeah, because Dr. Bernie Siegel said getting well is not the only goal. Even more important is learning to live without fear, to be at peace with life and ultimately death. Woo! You know, we don't, right away people don't want to deal with death, you know. They don't want to even think about it until they're on their deathbed, you know. Start as early as possible and celebrate, you know, start realizing your life is a precious thing. That's the, I don't hate Donald Trump. I think it's pathetic that he's throwing his life away. You know, he's just throwing his life away. I'm looking for what Carl Jung said about a wasted life. You know, a wasted life. If a soul doesn't reach its full potential, that life is wasted. So let's get into a little of Bernie Siegel. You'll thank me for this later. You know. Every human being's life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, Carl Jung said, then that life was wasted. And Pluto said there are worse things than death. You know, and I believe what he meant there was Donald Trump. You look at Donald Trump, you say all the money, you know, his relative, what, he's a 400-pound guy, but he's, you know, his 400-pound life, but he's, you know, got relatively, I don't know, good health. Who knows? He's all made up in orange and died in, who knows what kind of a girdle he's wearing. But I looked up that Plato saying, and they talk about incontinence and all this other stuff. No, nowadays you can wear diapers, have a colostomy. There's a lot of things that are worse. I've seen people in all conditions. No, the worst thing than death is what Carl Jung said, I believe. You know, every human life contains potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, then that life was wasted. That's worse than death, to waste your incarnation. When one is afraid of death, when one doesn't look forward to, he looks back. Death petrifies him. He dies before his time. But when he's living on, looking forward to the great adventure that is ahead, then he lives. Now, believe me, suicide is not the answer. You know, if you attempt, if you do suicide, you just have to, you know, it's a temporary solution to a permanent solution to a temporary problem or something. I get that all wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Temporary solution to, I don't know. But anyway, but when you live your life and it's time and you go, it's a graduation, it's a celebration. Embrace each challenge, Bernie Siegel said, in your life as an opportunity for self-transformation. So what we're going through right now, what a great time to, I mean, any incarnation is a good time to be incarnated, but especially now with these paradigm changes. Norman Cousins laughed himself cancer-free in the 50s, and now it's true, laughter helps your immune system and will destroy diseases. He said cynicism is intellectual treason. Disease is surely one of the ways which we are tried by life and offered the chance to be heroic. Yeah, the guys that, men and women that heal are the ones that give their doctors the rough time. They ask them questions, they call them, and no, I'm not doing this, I can't do this. This medicine is killing me. Write a prescription for something else. You know, they just will not. That's why I'm still here. I'm 70 and I've never been in better health. I'll be 70 in a few months. And then Bernie Siegel said, I am convinced that unconditional love is the most powerful known stimulant of the immune system. If I told patients to raise their blood levels of immune globulins or killer T cells, no one would know how. But if I can teach them to love themselves and others fully, the same changes happen automatically. The truth is, love heals. Animals, you know, critters, what do they say? To err is human, to forgive is canine. You know, cats, dogs, birds, just, you know, they're healers, you know. Trees, hug trees, heal the earth. If you are got the horrible addiction to tobacco, you know, cigarettes, in spite of knowing that you know you will die a horrible death from it, please at least don't put your cigarette. Be mindful of what you're doing. Your precious pink lungs. I'm talking for them. They don't want you to do this to them. I've been smoking cannabis since I was 13. I'll be 70 in a few months. And recently I was walking down Polk Street a couple of weeks before the mid-June. Excuse me. And Denise Dory, she'll be here at right after my show. So don't run away. After my show's over, wait a few minutes, and Denise Dory will be here with Access of Love. And this woman I hadn't seen in a few years, a grateful client, you know, because I do a lot of, you know, cannabis events and fairs. She was so glad to see me. I don't know what she was on. And this little, well, she's not a petite, but she's, you know. Anyway, she grabbed me, and so tight she busted one of my ribs, which is a very painful thing. And I was really in a lot of pain, and because of my, you know, tender liver, it's in good health, but it's, you know, I can't do pain pills. So I thank God for cannabis. I managed to get, you know, through the 5 weeks it took to heal my rib. And it was a little break, but it was a break nonetheless, and and it was really, really painful. So why I'm telling you that, sharing that with you, is because the other day I had my yearly physical with my doctor, who I adore. I've been with him for over 29 years. He's like the son I never had. He's such a great guy. And he said, oh, the emergency room sent me a chest x-ray of your broken rib. And he said, and then he's pretty straight. And, he signs my cannabis letter and all that. I don't think he smokes cannabis himself. But I don't think, people who don't need it. But anyway, he said, your lung, in a surprised look on his face, he said, your lungs are healthy. He said, they're like perfect health. He said, your lungs are really in good shape. And I looked at him like, why? We have cannabinoids. Why would I don't smoke tobacco? I smoke good, high quality cannabis or cannabis oil. And it has dissolved all my liver tumors. Why should it affect my lungs in any way? But anyway, so that's the story. So I was, and how I got off of that horrible tobacco addiction was every time I wanted a cigarette, I would smoke a doobie. And I got a dog. Because I know my dangerous time was after I had a meal, especially supper. And I said to myself, if I had a dog, I'd be walking her right now. Because that's, I tried everything, After a year of getting off of alcohol and drugs, I finally got the cigarettes. And trust me, cigarettes is harder than heroin to kick. I mean, because it's still, I said, there's a lot of people now who are, tobacco is all about anger. Cannabis is sadness and grief. And yeah, I'm sad for this, it helps me, helps me with my sadness and the pain. At 70, I do have some aches and pains. Okay, so unconditional love. I believe that we are here to contribute love to the planet, each of us in our own way. God gave us a little light, let it shine. Happiness is an inside job. Years ago when I was in recovery, I said to the shrink I'd been going to forever, just for scripts. And then after I cleaned up, I went for him and really got some healing. And boy, I cried a lot that first year. I was in my late 20s, early 30s. And wow, I really, I was drug-free. And boy, I dealt with a lot of stuff in my past, and boy, the tears just came out. It was a real cleansing. And at one time to him, I said, well, I got a dog, I'm taking astrology classes, I'm living with this wonderful woman, this heiress. Life's going really well. I said, I almost feel like the carpet's going to get pulled out from under me. And he looked at me, and I'll never forget it. He said, well, if it does, look for your hand doing the pulling. I'll never forget that, So, yeah, it's an inside job, Some people, look at Donald Trump. He can't handle prosperity on any level. Look at Prince. I love his music. In the 80s, I had this dog. She just died in 96, Chelsea. And I used to look at her and I'd say, baby, you're my little red Corvette. Because dogs are expensive, And, but she was the best dog. Yeah, so, Little Red Corvette. I love Prince, but once again, they can't handle prosperity. So many people on any level, you cannot fail at being yourself. A cat doesn't try to be a tiger, and you shouldn't try to be something you aren't. You are a process, not a product. Your job is to discover what you are and create that creature. I love that. Your job is to discover what you are and create that creature. You still won't be perfect, but success isn't about perfection. It is about authenticity. You are a success if you are being your real, authentic self. Being yourself in a society that is constantly trying to make you something else. Buy this, buy that. I haven't used deodorant. I've been a vegetarian now for 40 years. I haven't, 30-something years at least. I haven't, you don't need deodorant. You don't need, because, after you go to the bathroom, you don't leave a stink. It's not like an animal died in there. Actually, your bowel movements will have a pleasant little, pungent little, like, exotic smell. Yeah, I've been a virgin. So when I used to live with the asthmatic heiress, she would tell her friends who slept over in the guest room or whatever, make sure to light incense in the bathroom because Frank's poop doesn't stink. But yeah, I wanted to be a vegetarian when my adopted parents adopted me. They were very tragic people. So I became that again. So that's my true self. And I used to get invited to dinner all the time. But when I quit drinking and became a vegetarian, a non-smoker, no more. those, too much trouble, Frank. Well, here's some money. Go buy yourself a falafel. Don't let your mind get hijacked. That's rampant. Yeah, we got propaganda TV. Hannity is like Tokyo Rose. It is not about curing the disease, but healing the life. Then the physical benefits come. You remember the throat chakra rules all the chakra. The best gift I can give this planet is to be a fully healthy, fill in the blank, fill in your name. Soul loves hearing its own name. When you say, I love you, Frank, or whatever, Mary Beth, whatever your name is, I love you. I'm your best friend through eternity. I'm helping you create whatever you dreamt of having right here, right now. If a person could turn from predicting illness to anticipating recovery, the foundation for cure is laid. Being adopted was a blessing, and I don't even want my DNA done so they can tell me what diseases my ancestors might have had. I love the fact that I don't know if my old man went bald or whatever, who died of this or that. I just know that I'm all about wellness, and I create, I let my body do wellness, One mind, aka God, wants us to know that life is a series of beginnings, not endings. Yeah, I was talking about that. When you embrace the mystery, Psychic Frank's Mystery School, life's a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. When you embrace the mystery and open yourself to it, a new life is created, resistant to the old problems. You will notice at times that the new life isn't what you asked for. Boy, is that an understatement. But asking for specific items or for particular events to occur isn't how I define prayer. I cannot guarantee that the orders you place with God will always be filled. Prayer is not a test of God, but a call for help to find your inner strength and talent. Yeah, we don't have to remind ourselves. We don't have to remind ourselves to pray, but that we are praying. Our life is a prayer. So be mindful of every act you do. Whether you're on the floor picking tobacco, cigarette butts off on the sidewalk. I do this every morning. I get started, and I ended up with 2 fistfuls the other day of cigarette butts. And the very next morning, I went out, and there another dozen. Be mindful of what you're doing to your precious lungs. Your vital organs have a consciousness, and when your vital organs do what they do best, they get this erotic pleasure when your liver is your lover. The liver is a very forgiving organ. Back in 2006, I was fighting liver cancer, and I actually saw the sonogram, and my liver was totally riddled with these ugly tumors. And then 7 years later, I was Hep C free and had milk thistle, changed my lifestyle and my diet. I went right back to the same Webster Street hospital and had the same woman, as fate would have it, who 7 years ago, did the sonogram on my tummy and showed, my liver, showed me the liver tumors and how I was in bad trouble. I'll never forget that sentence she said. It was the most beautiful sentence I ever heard in my life. She was really quiet for like 15 minutes, and I was going crazy there, going, holy shit, what's going on? And then she said this sentence that I'll never forget. She said, the liver is a very forgiving organ. There's no trouble, there's no sign that you were ever in any danger or trouble. And I looked at it, and then I've been to several liver specialists, talked to them at events, and I told them that story, and they go, oh, it's common knowledge. Yeah, with the key, the cure for many, many cancers is out there. Uh, we got to get it legal. Yeah, cannabis. Yeah, cannabis. And this, many, many people though, the brainwashing was so thorough that many people would rather die than. I mean, if you asked them to use cannabis, you'd think you were asking them to go whoring or something. You know. I don't understand it, but I'm not going to waste my energy allowance, you know. They'll just have to burn, whatever. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the dark of mere being. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Oh yeah, this Donald Trump regime, this dark night of the soul the whole world is going through, is happening for us, not to us. Now, I'm not condoning this for one magic moment. This is really important here. But if we see this as an opportunity to, to work on ourselves, and get involved, get out there, you know. If someone controls you in a way that puzzles you, think of it as a mystery. Mysteries are best approached by closing your eyes and mouth to experience darkness and silence. I find new and healing images in the dark. This is Bernie Siegel, Dr. Bernie Siegel says this. I find new and healing images in the dark. Silent place away from emotion that controls me. Do not be afraid to close your eyes and be silent in prayer, meditation, rest, or sleep. In those states, you may rediscover a new self. Then your life, time, and thoughts will become yours again, and you can live your unique myth. You can live your unique myth. Do things that make your life precious. One's attitude towards oneself is the single most important factor in healing and staying well. One's attitude about, like I tell people, you've got a crappy attitude. Money isn't going to fix anything. If money could help, you would have had a lot more a long time ago. Yeah. If you don't like what you have, what makes you think more is going to help? You know, look at Donald Trump. He's pathetic. He's a sad. If he was a horse, they'd shoot him, put him out of his GD misery. You know, and all these despicable people now are showing their true colors. Yeah, we're going through a. Oh yeah, your sacred place is where you can find yourself again and again. Joseph Campbell said that. For me, I've gone through rough times. I almost died several times from cancer and this or that. Dark night of the soul, betrayal, ripped out of hundreds of, thousands of dollars of inheritances. That actually Obama could have helped, but he never did because he got that Geithner guy, an insider to his first 6 months. And I love Obama, you know, he was so green you could plan him. But let's face it, the first 6 months, he was like at a frat party. He thought, he was like, oh, everybody's my friend. And then he got 8 years of instruction. But that first 6 months, he had both houses. He could have like totally done, but it was, everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. So now it's time. Yeah, in 2 years we're going to have our Pluto return. That's every 247 years. So yeah, and it's in our money house. So in the meantime, life's a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. You're gonna go to sleep anyway. Release the day. Get into a healthy habit. Use your throat chakra. I released this day. I laughed, I cried, oh my God, I got my money's worth, and now I release it all. I allow my angels. Remember, free will is not an illusion. The angels will not intervene in our lives. They will not break the law, so get into the habit of asking the angels. I mean, there are rare exceptions, and I guess if you were in a car by mistake and it's going off a cliff, they might pull you out of it, but if it's not your time, it's sort of like Heaven Can Wait, that old movie that's been remade over and over again. But for the most part, get into the habit of when you I don't think it's humans were made to do it alone. I think we before the way back we were meant to be co-creators before the industrial revolution, the agricultural evolution. Which, by the way, every revolution has a shadow. Agricultural evolution brought us poisoning our food. Industrial evolution brought us child labor, where Donald Trump wants to let poor kids work for their food stamps. Oh, he's a sad man. So use the and now the communication evolution has Facebook. I'm still off of Facebook. I don't think I'll ever go back to it. The more I don't want to get into discussions with anybody, but for me, it's not the way. I gave it a go. My computer was hacked, and I'm not in it anymore. But yeah, do things that make you. And when you look in the mirror, the eyes are the window to the soul. Give yourself lots of kisses and tell yourself you are beautiful. You are not, a hook for somebody to hang their shadow on. I think the worst thing that goes on with all these politicians is they insult our intelligence. Like, look here in San Francisco, we got a mayor now, London Breed, and I don't like her because she lied. The first thing she said after Ed Lee died was she got out there and said Ed Lee was the people's mayor. Yeah, the rich people, the corporations, the techs. He created the homeless situation. He was a horrible tick who sucked the blood out of San Francisco and then got so fat he fell off and died. And then we get London Bree, who I don't like liars, but I've given her the benefit of the doubt. I hope somebody who's a friend of London Bree's lets her listen to this. Now, you've been saying you loved your sister, obviously, and you probably drove her to drugs, but that's another story. But you said that, and I like what you did at Golden Gate Park, where people with needles can go, who need that, can go there until they can get help. A safe place. They don't have to do it in subway stops. I don't have to see them shooting themselves up on the sidewalk, what's happening now. So I thank you for doing that. But, I'm going to hip you to something you don't know about, and you're never going to know about because you refused them whenever you're in City Hall. In the meetings, you go away. The minute the poor people or the cannabis people come up, you're out of there. I mean, you're just like Newsom and Ed Lee. He couldn't be in the same room with us either, and you can't either. So I'm going to hip you to something that I hope you take it from the heart, like I'm sending it from the heart. Harm reduction is a big, big thing. And there's many people on fixed incomes who could barely, who are dedicated their lives to it. Not only access of love, I know many people who are veterans should be getting their cannabis instead of these pharmaceuticals. Insurance companies need to be paying cannabis for all kinds of PSD things that these vets need this stuff. But they're all so happy to, at the VA hospital, give you as many hundreds of thousands of opioids as you would want. But cannabis, oh no, no, you got to look in the mirror. These people aren't going to die for you. Still work on your character defects while you like. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the character defects that Donald Trump has, and it's going to get you. Watch this. This is once again. This is 3 eclipses in a row. I was a little premature for the last couple of months. I've been saying, well, maybe this month, maybe. No, I said my last show. No, astrologically now I can see the outer planets like Pluto, the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth. Uranus, the electric liberator. Jupiter, the expander. Saturn, the karma planet of nothing before its time. The planet associated with fate and destiny. Those planets, the outer planets, deal with the big picture of our lives, collectively and personally. The close planets, Venus, Mars, the Moon, Mercury, these are how we deal with our outer planet, our everyday life. So with Mars doing an aspect to Donald Trump's Saturn and a lot of all these outer planets having all these opportunities for major work, we could change this. The man of uncouth behavior whose contempt for education and basic decency is abysmal. And remember, you have such a close connection to life that we no longer see ourselves as separated or opposite. A living commitment to living the truth. The truth is, well, look at this now. Extraterrestrials. I mean, they exist. I haven't personally, in an awakened conscious state, connected with an extraterrestrial to my knowledge. I think there was one time when this one came into my apartment. Someone from the mystery school years ago called me and told me that there was somebody came and they wanted a reading, and he said, I just knew that I had to send him to you. And I had trusted this guy, and I didn't think he would send me a crazy person, so I allowed him to send me this guy, because I don't let, anybody in my apartment. And long story short, I opened the door. It was this very tall guy. He looked like a Amish beard, with no upper lip hair. And it was a really interesting hour I spent with him. And then we said goodbye. And he actually pointed out some things on my chart that really, I still to this day bless him for it. I think he might have been an extraterrestrial. But I know that they exist because it's altered states of consciousness. I've been galactically experienced. Have you ever been experienced? Yes, so Putin, he's proud as punch because he's got his Jupiter return happening. I would tell him Jupiter returns are all about being rewarded. When Jupiter is on your sun or whatever, you're going to be rewarded. Yeah, Comey's book is great. Thomas More, not contemporary Thomas More, but the old Thomas More said, if honor were profitable, everybody would be honorable. Yeah, and that's why I said honorable, the good name, reputation, but most importantly, it's principled, uprightness and character, personal integrity. Donald Trump thinks that Putin and Kim Un of North Korea, murderous, thuggish villains, despicable, and they make the mafia look good. And he calls these people honorable. Well, anyway, he'll be gone. Denise will be here in a second. I love you. Namaste. Thanks for watching. And it's been an absolute thrill. Oh yeah, I'll be back here on August 3rd, for August 2nd, and August 16th. Namaste.